Good morning, everyone. I hope your week is starting off well. So, in my boot camp, I help all sorts of traders, and one particular trader that I've started helping recently, is a Nadex binary options trader. Now, Nadex is a regulated CFTC regulated company or binary option exchange in the United States. It's not traditional forex. There are ways you can potentially trade like spot forex on that, but as of all, overall, it's kind of just a binary options, short-term contracts that you are looking to capitalize on. Now, I pride myself in being able to help anybody who wants to trade, whether that be on binary options or traditional spot forex or whatever. So with that being said, I wanted to make it a point that if I wanted to try and help this person become better at Nadex, then I needed to be good at Nadex as well, and taking advantage of my trading style and trying to incorporate that into profitably trading Nadex. So I started a little account with about $100 last night. I think the minimum deposit is $100 on Nadex. So I wanted to kind of walk this person through the process of picking strikes. Now, I have traded Nadex historically, but it was very early on in my trading career, and I was not really profitable overall. I mean, I was kind of boom or bust at the time. But now, several years later, in the process of my trading, I've developed much better patience and discipline and, technical analysis skill, whatever you want to call it, that I feel like I can take advantage of Nadex now the way that it's truly meant to be taken advantage of. And that's quick, short-term price movements. Now, I took a trade just within the past hour on the pound yen, typically very volatile pair, bullish or bearish. So I wanted to take advantage of those quick volatile movements on this pair. So I have some confluence areas up in this area here, and I'm looking for price to essentially kind of retest this trend line. Now, you can draw it however you want, maybe like a channel structure. We are coming down into retesting this price movement here, or this previous trend line, whatever you want to call it. We're coming down in to retest that. So I want to be taking my profits off. Now, this contract is essentially dead. I sold the 144.09 contract for $42.75. What that means is every contract on Nadex is worth $100. And if I sold it for $42.75, that means I risked $57.25. Now, I'm not going to hold this until expiration. The potential is there. I have 30 minutes left, but the contract is essentially dead. And what that means is I have to hold for another 34 minutes to capitalize on this $8.75. Now, personally, I don't feel like it's necessary to hold that entire time in order to capitalize on that extra $8 or $9. So I'm going to go ahead and take my $37 profit minus, that was one contract, minus $2 fee. I think it's $1 in, $1 out. So that made that roughly a $35 profit. Now remember, I sold for $42.75, I think. So that means I risked $57.25. Slightly skewed risk to reward, and that's one of the things that I do not like about Nadex is even truly at the money contracts typically are not quite a one-to-one risk to reward. You're always, Nadex is essentially like a casino, okay? So they're trying to tilt the odds into their favor no matter where the indicative price is, okay? No matter where the price level is. Okay, so what that means is even though I sold essentially as price was testing this 144.09, I'll bring the chart back up here. Even as I sold the market as price was testing this, it wasn't quite, and it was actually on a retest of this level. You can see it better on a 15-minute chart. As we initially spiked up and found some profit taking or bears coming off of it, I sold on a quick retest of that level. Okay, so it was essentially at the money, slightly in the money, and the reason is, like I said, the odds are slightly tilted towards Nadex's favor. Okay, now where am I going with this? So I just wanted to let you know that even though people trade Nadex in almost like a gambling sense, you know, there are appropriate ways to take advantage of it. Okay, this is a perfect example. So this was a perfect spot that I was willing to sell at on a spot forex trade. Okay, to grab, in this case, you know, price has dropped, you know, almost 50 pips from, you know, the best possible entry. Okay, so you can take advantage of that using higher time frame charts. This was all done essentially on a 4-hour chart, dropping down to a 1-hour chart. I identified what the market was potentially doing. I found my fibs, my higher time frame fibs. I found my higher time frame structure. If you look left, the market leaves clues. There's previous resistance, broken resistance, now coming back up, potential resistance again. Okay. And with all the extra confluence that we talked about early on in this potential channel structure formation and trendline retest, that was a good place to take advantage of a quick price movement. In this case, almost 50 pips of movement. So that was able to grab me. I don't know, I think it ended up being 35 bucks. I could have held for it even a little bit longer, but we were coming down into my take profit area. So, you know, this is where I was wanting to get out, okay? If I was day trading, this is likely where I would be looking to take some profits off, because we're coming back into previous resistance. The confluence is there. People are likely going to be buying on a retest of this trend line for a potential bullish move. Okay, so keep that in mind. Anyone who trades Nadex, I caution you to, unless you're very, very good with your entries, I caution you to try to stay as close to at the money as possible, or even out of the money. Meaning, so had I bought or sold a strike maybe down around this profit, my profit target level, as price was testing this in anticipation that it was going to fill this channel back to the downside, I could have sold an out of the money contract for very cheap at that time, probably less than, probably somewhere in the realm of $15 to $20 risk. And I could have capitalized on that, taking profit now, just like I did with that at the money, and potentially grabbed even more profit, maybe a 2 to 1. So the same price movement maybe would have been, I don't know, maybe $30 or $40, but having only risked $20 maybe, or even less, that would have been very good risk to reward, 2 to 1 risk to reward, as opposed to essentially 1 to 1. Now again, remember, I paid or I risked $57.25. That was just essentially my buying power. I wasn't going to let this go all the way to expiration for a full loss. Like I said, I looked to exit for 75 to 80, 90% of what I'm potentially looking to grab. Okay, so that's essentially my stop loss as well. 75 to 80, 90% of what I'm looking to risk, just to try and make that slightly out of the money contract worth or slightly in the money contract, I guess it typically was, just to try and make that closer to a 1-to-1 risk to reward. Okay, so I hope this helps. I hope you can see that Nadex, although I don't recommend trading it solely, it is, a way to diversify yourself and capitalize on those quick price movements. As long as you're understanding the strikes that you get in, the strikes that you can take advantage of, the time periods, you want to be making sure that you're trading. If you're looking for price movement, you need to be trading within a time frame that typically has more volatility or more price movement. Okay, so and stick to. I wouldn't, venture down into much less than an hour's left. You want to have some time on your side. So the potential was there for this thing to just essentially kind of trade sideways up here and consolidate. We're coming up on lunch for New York. We could have very easily just consolidated up in this area here, which, if that's the case, and out of the money is not a good strike to have, because you need that price movement in order to profit. Okay? Same as and at the money, you kind of need that price movement to profit. You don't want to be sticking around with price essentially sitting on your strike for an hour and a half and then it losing in the last few minutes. Okay, that's painful to sit through. Okay, that creates unnecessary emotion. So you want to try to time it in and around those times that are more volatile. Okay, now obviously that's going to work for and against you during certain situations. If you're subpar with your entry, or you're just a little too greedy, holding off for more, or trying to get that full expiration. Now, there's a very good chance that this is going to expire full profit. But like I said, it's essentially back where I took profit at. If you look at, I took profit essentially right around when the offer was at 8. Okay? Meaning that I would literally have to sit here for another 25 minutes to capitalize on an $8 profit, which in my mind, it's not worth it. Okay? Because GJ moves so volatilely, we retested this trend line, this thing could just shoot up in the next 25 minutes. I've seen it happen. You can see it on this hourly candle. From when it first broke, quick little retest, it shot up. Okay? It's there. The potential is there. So I would much rather get that initial pop, get that quick movement, take that 80% profit, and just call it a day. Look for the next trade patiently. Okay? I hope this helps. Sorry I got kind of long-winded with this, but I wanted to just kind of put this out there that for anybody who is trying to trade Nadex, you can do it with a smaller account. Like I said, I started this last night. I think it was at $102 or something. I had a couple bucks in there. I put in an extra 100 and went from there. Okay, so I've already essentially doubled my account using proper risk management, taking at the money trades. I even had one loss last night on the USD JPY. So taking a loss and still being able to double this account is excellent. Okay, so but I don't want that to make you think that this is a get-rich-quick scheme, because Nadex is there to take your money. Okay, it's a business. Okay, it wants people trading as often as possible, because they know, just like a casino, the longer they can keep you in that casino, in that business, the more likely you're going to give all your money back. Okay, find your edge, find your trade, get in, get out, and have a good day. Okay? take your profits and walk away. Shut your freaking computer down. That's where people get into trouble. Okay, they sit here, and this is a perfect example. Oh, price come down. Okay, now I'm gonna buy this, and then it come back up. I'm gonna sell this. Yes, that may work, but trading more often does not mean you're going to be more profitable. Okay, this thing hit some pretty higher time frame levels. It could totally blow through this and just drop. Okay, we're pretty overextended here. If you look at the higher time frame charts, this could be a lower high, and it could just drop straight on down to these profit targets, several hundred pips away. So you thinking that it's just going to respect this, it may not. Okay, so that's the lesson, I guess, for today. So take care, trade safe, plan those trades, execute those trades when you need to execute them, and don't forget to take some profits. Take care, guys.